Good evening, everyone. Now, the theme for this session is Atmanirbhar Bharat, opportunities for startups in defense and aerospace segment. When you talk about Atmanirbharta, it is something like, gaining self-reliance, efficiency, resilience in all sectors. And when we talk about defense per se, because this is one of the most important aspects of Indian economy. So when we talk about defense, it is not just related to reducing the import dependency, but rather positioning our country as a prominent defense exporter. So that is the main aim. And towards that, there are multiple programs under Ministry of Defense which has been initiated for achieving this particular aim. Today, we will be emphasizing upon one such scheme which is aimed at promoting startups, MSMEs, individual innovators into defense and aerospace segment. And that framework is called IDEX. Now, IDEX stands for Innovation for Defense Excellence. And this is an initiative which has been started under Department of Defense Production, Ministry of Defense. So today we have got eminent panelists out here. So what we will do is that we will give you an insight about the IDEX scheme and the newly launched Defense India Startup Challenge, 10th edition, which is called as DISC 10. And then we will listen to the user perspective from a services officer. So that's why Group Captain Saurabh Shiv is here. He will give the user perspective of DISC challenges. And then we will hear the IDEX journey from two CEOs being the IDEX winners. So Rajaguru is here, and we have got an invisible person also here. She is Vrinda Kapoor. She couldn't join us physically, but we will be listening to her video bite of her journey. So that's in store as far as today's session is concerned. And finally, if time permits, we'll be taking on a few question and answer sessions. To start off about the IDEX scheme. Now, when we talk about IDEX scheme is funded and managed by an organization called as Defense Innovation Organization. It's a Section 8 company that is under Department of Defense Production, MOD. Now, IDEX was launched in the year 2018 by the Honorable Prime Minister. And normally they say IDEX itself is a startup. There are dual aims as far as the IDEX scheme is concerned. The first one is to foster defense entrepreneurs. So that is the first thing. And the second aspect is to have cutting edge technologies for Indian Armed Forces to modernize the Indian Armed Forces. The scheme talks about funding. There is funding which has been given under this scheme. And then I'll be talking about this intangible benefit of co-creation and co-development. And as on date, IDEX is engaged with more than 400 plus startups and MSMEs. And it believes in the concept of rapid prototyping. The time span given for developing a prototype is 24 months. And the last bullet, what you see here, which says procurement of 28 items with over rupees 2,000 crore has been cleared. So that is the biggest thing because the market is there. Which says that if your story is a success story, you are definitely going to get orders. Now when we talk about the IDEX framework, so there are four prominent entities in this. What you see onto the left is the nodal agency. So nodal agency is the place from where you get the challenges. So that includes the three services, Army, Air Force, Navy, and we have got the defense PSUs. Then we have got Defense Space Agency, we have got Border Road Organization, Indian Coast Guard, MHA, and so on. There are all in all 23 nodal agencies from where the challenges comes to the IDEX. The second entity is DIO IDEX, which is Defense Innovation Organization IDEX, which does the complete program management of the scheme. It does the funding and plus the complete program management. The third entity is the partner incubator, which is actually, the TBIs, the incubators of premier institutes like IITs, IISc, IIM, and there are a few private incubators as well. So they are all part of IDEX scheme, and they are the ones who mentor the startups in this complete journey. And the last, but the most important entity, that is the startups. So this is the entity from where we look for solutions. And if you look at the complete framework, there are 5 prominent flagship programs under IDEX. The first one is Defense India Startup Challenge, which is abbreviated as DISC. This is a scheme wherein the challenge comes from the nodal agency. It comes from the armed forces or the DPSUs. It is given an outreach, and we look for solutions from the startups. So this is one flagship program. The second one is called as Open Challenge. It is just the reverse process, wherein if a startup feels that, okay, I have got, a particular solution, or I have got a proof of concept which would be of utility to armed forces, they can take this route. The third one is IDEX Prime. The processing is similar to what is there in the first two. Only thing is that the IDEX Prime is a highly funded project. It is, these challenges are more intricate, and the scope of work is on a higher side. So the funding requirement is on a higher side. So that is a separate scheme called as IDEX Prime. And the last two that you see, that is Indes X and IDEX for 4G. So these are two programs which has just started in this edition. As on date, we already had 9 editions of DISC challenges. Currently, the 10th edition of DISC is going on. In this 10th edition of DISC, these 2 programs also have been added. INDES stands for a combination of India and US. It stands for India-US Acceleration Program. So in this, there are 2 challenges been launched. One challenge has come from Indian Coast Guard, from Indian side, and one challenge has come from the Naval Department of the US Forces. So this is a place, this is a new thing. This is actually a pilot initiative which has started after the Honorable PM visited US in June 2023. And based upon that, in this scheme, the startups on both sides can, avail the facilities of each other. A major player from the other side can get in collaboration with startup on the other side, and similarly, they can, avail the facilities of, the labs and all those things. So this is a wonderful scheme. This is a pilot project which has just started now. IDEX for 4G is something particular to the services segment. Any 4G or any services person, if he has got an idea, if he has got a proof of concept, he can launch a challenge through this IDEX initiative. And any startup who wants to build upon a prototype based on that particular proof of concept, they are also most welcome. So these are the 5 major flagship programs under the IDEX framework. Now, this indicates, the focal point for the complete thing is the startups, MSMEs and innovators. So that's what is shown in the center in the green circle. What you see on the arch are something related to that co-creation and co-development process. So you can look at that. On the first thing is IDEX provides a SPARK grant. SPARK stands for Support for Prototype and Research Kickoff. That is the name of the grant in aid that is provided to the startups. So the grant provided is 1.5 crores for DISC challenges. So that is the maximum limit. And if it is an IDEX Prime challenge, the maximum limit is 10 crores. So funding is just tip of the iceberg. So that is the first part. Second is, DOI IDEX has got a wonderful project management team which does the complete agile program management. Then we have got the partner incubators who renders the expert support as well as, mentoring of these startups. They actually technically evaluate the progress of the prototype development. Then normally you get a regular feedback from the nodal agency, the place from where you got the challenges. From Army, Air Force, Navy and the DPSUs, they keep a track on the, prototype development, because the prototype development happens in milestones. So at each milestone, there is a feedback given to the startup so that they can tweak the system. So there is a continuous, functional check that has been done by the nodal agency. And with this particular framework, any startup which is getting into a defense segment, they get an access to, defense labs and the quality assurance agencies which are there in defense, that is DGQA and DGAQA and all. And similarly, the testing facilities, you get an access to the testing facilities. And the last one, these startups are given an outreach in different forum. You would be knowing that there are, shows like Aero India and Def Expo, wherein the startups are showcased in the India Pavilion. This India Pavilion is of, prime importance in these shows because this is the place where even the Indian Prime Minister makes a walkthrough. So there is a lot of projection given to the startups who are with IDEX, and similarly any foreign delegation coming from outside, for them also there's a lot of projection being given for these IDEX startups. This is the flowchart of activities, fairly simple. This talks about path to procurement. What happens is that initially the problem statement comes from the armed forces, and these problem statements are launched as DIS challenges. Normally this launching is done during Aero India and Def Expo, either by the Honorable Prime Minister or by the Honorable Raksha Mantri. So it is a top-driven approach, and then we carry out an outreach session for these challenges. So what we are doing now is something like that. We are giving an outreach session for the current edition of DISC, that is DISC 10. So this is basically to convey this point to the forum that there is such an option which is available wherein any startup who has got the competency to address those challenges, you're most welcome. So once, the outreach is done, we get the applications, there is a little bit of shortlisting been done, and the shortlisting has been done by a committee called as High Power Selection Committee, which which is chaired by normally by a Major General rank officer or equivalent, and there will be nodal officers, there will be an industry rep, there will be a rep from the academia, and there will be the team from IDEX who will be evaluating the proposal submitted by the startups, and then accordingly they are declared a winner. The moment a startup is declared a winner, we normally don't say that the startup is a separate entity or a vendor or something like that. They become part of our ecosystem. They become part of the IDEX ecosystem. So then the process of co-development and co-creation starts, wherein you get the services of the partner incubator, you get the feedback from the nodal agency, you get the feedback, you get the services of DAO IDEX, and finally your journey starts, and you have to make a product which has to be, integrated onto a defense, equipment platform. So normally we say that the journey has to start from technology readiness level, say 2, which is a proof of concept stage, to something which is integrable, which we say that it is TRL level 8 or 9. This is again put across in a different way. The only thing which I want to highlight is the budget part. I mentioned the maximum budget allocation is 1.5 crores in IDEX. The only catch is there, for example, if you have got a product development budget, say X, so you will get the amount X by 2 or 1.5 crore, whichever is lesser. So you might be curious to know from where will the other part will come. So the other part is called as the matching contribution. So that matching contribution has to come from the startup. They have to look for a venture capitalist. There is a reason for this, because we want any startup who is getting aligned with defense, there has to be a skin in the game. Reason being, it should not end up as a research and development product. At the end of the day, we need a prototype because it is meant for a national cause. But the carrot is, if the product gets developed successfully, you will definitely get an order, because IDEX is a chapter which figures in Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020. DAP 2020 is the Bible of defense procurement, and IDEX figures there. This is a snapshot if numbers matter. As on date, partner incubators, 28 partner incubators are there. Open challenges, more than 900 applications we have already got. As far as DISC is concerned, more than 400 plus innovation challenges have been launched under DISC. More than 7,000 applicants, 450 startups been shortlisted. There are 23 nodal agencies from where we get the challenges, and almost as on date, there are about 300 winners with whom the IDEX contract has been signed. So these are the few, snapshots of the events of Aero India and Def Expo. You can see all these startups are showcased at a very, very high profile. So these are few snapshots, just give you a visibility of what are the advantages of being an IDEX startup. Now, when we talk about IDEX, it's a PM award awardee. Basically, it got a PM award last year in the innovation segment for pursuing these projects on a fast track mode. The complete, IDEX framework works in an online process. It is a paperless transaction. So whatever progress happens, be it the project management or the fund allocation, everything is done on the website. Each of the stakeholder get a user ID and a password, and accordingly he can see the progress of the project. He can make out where his particular case is stuck. Now I'll be talking about the current edition of DIS, that is Defense India Startup Challenge 10th edition. So you can see it is available on the website, which is idex.gov.in. This is the snapshot of the website. So you have to just go to the IDEX challenges on to the right on the top. The moment you click it, you will figure out these DIS 10 challenges, IDEX Prime challenges, Indus X challenges. And accordingly you have to click, and it is a very fairly simple process. You have to just enter your credentials in that. You have to enter a deck, and then you have to enter a prototype development proposal in that. It is fairly simple. And there are, as on date, 76 challenges which are there in total from DISC 10 and IDEX Prime. So any of the queries related to those challenges can be entered in this. The concerned nodal officer will give you the clarification. The last date for submission for a proposal for this particular edition of DIS challenge is 4th of December. So that's why I said this is an outreach session for that as well. So if you have gotten a solution, please go through those challenges. The wonderful opportunities ahead for anybody, who wants to get into this particular segment. This particular, slide I've deliberately put. We have got a wonderful landscape of IT companies and startup ecosystem in Kerala. The number of startups who are into defense segment from Kerala is very, very less, because I was part of IDEX before coming over to Technopark. So I've seen the number of startups in this IDEX framework are very, very less. There are few. So I want, you people to try this particular, framework. This is a wonderful framework. There is a market which is already there. You might be doing a lot of activities for the enterprise segment. You might be required to do a little bit of tweaking so that you can address these particular challenges. So have a look onto those 76 challenges, and you'll find there are opportunities. So that's from my side. And before I leave, I just want to have that DIS 10 launch video to be played. You may please play the DIS 10 launch video.
As we begin our journey towards Amrit Kal, the nation sets its sights on the inspiring vision of Viksit Bharat. Propelled by the pursuit of self-reliance within its defense ecosystem, IDEX, an effort led by Ministry of Defence towards Atmanirbhar in defence, has leveraged the expertise and creativity of our nation's young entrepreneurs and startups. IDEX is engaged with over 400 startups and MSMEs, enabling development of more than 50 cutting-edge technologies. Till date, procurement of 28 items worth over 2,000 crore rupees has been cleared, further boosting our defense network. 9 new partner incubators have been onboarded, continuing to foster innovation. IDEX is launching DISC 10 with 76 challenges and IDEX for 4G with 5 challenges. DISC 10 marks the highest number of challenges launched till date. These challenges have been received from services, defense space agencies, Indian Coast Guard, DPSUs and Border Roads Organization, spread across a wide array of critical and advanced technology domains. Marching ahead in unison towards a self-reliant India, IDEX extends an open invitation to innovators, startups and MSMEs to apply. For more information, Visit www.idex.gov.in.
So IDEX is all about opportunities in defense segment. So now I would like to invite Group Captain Saurabh Shiv, who will give you the user perspective of these challenges. Over to you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Colonel Nair, for warming up the session for us. And it's a wonderful opportunity here to be standing amongst all you young entrepreneurs and talking about a topic which is very close to my heart. And actually, I've been sitting here for the last 1.5 hours, and I've been listening to various speakers. And though I felt a little out of place because of the kind of background I'm from, but one thing is very, very common between what I do and what you all are doing here as young entrepreneurs. That we all are patriots. We all are working for our country to do well and to lead the global scene. So with that, I will space out my talk in whatever time I'm left with in three main things. First thing I would like to talk about is self-reliance. A speaker before me has already spoken about that, and that needs to be covered because that is the crux of the problem statement that we are facing in the defense industry. The second thing would be a little touch upon IDEX from the user's perspective in terms of what are the challenges that the Air Force has to offer from the present DISC 10 challenges which Colonel Nair has just introduced. I will be introducing around four of them, wherein I will give you a perspective as to how the services conceives a problem and wants you to work on it. So with that, I'll start with self-reliance. In fact, self-reliance is something that is at the core of every nation's collective thought process. Because whenever a nation state is born, like when we were born in 1947, the first thing that would have been there in every leadership's mind is how to make this self-reliant, this country self-reliant. Because a country is like a family. Like in a family, the head of the family thinks like that, how do I make my family self-reliant? So this thought process is there in every leader's mind, and our leadership also thought the same, that how to make our country self-reliant. It was a big struggle initially, whatever it was, due to lack of resources, due to lack of leadership, or due to sheer lethargy. I would not mind to say that. And we lacked that. You know, I have been flying an aeroplane for the last almost 20-25 years now, and I started flying in the late 90s. And I used to fly a Russian aircraft and then an American aircraft. So, and I love flying. For me, in my younger days, the best thing used to be flying up in the air. And I used to hate it when my aircraft used to be down because of a lack of a spare part which had to be transported from thousands of miles away. Why? Because my own country could not produce a spare part. This is a very personal story, but then when you translate this into a country's firepower, it means huge. It means denial of firepower if a country wants to protect itself. And that is something which is actually a big elephant in this room that we are talking about in startup. If we are not able to protect ourselves, we will never be able to progress. We will never be able to give you all the freedom that you all deserve. We have two armed conflicts going on in the world right now, and somebody again mentioned about it. One of them has been going on for the last 2 years. One of them has started right now, and it has the potential to go on for a long time. And both the countries that are involved in this are in some way giving us spare parts and equipment. So what happens as a result of this? Our entire supply chain gets affected. Whether it's Russia or whether it's Israel, we are not able to get stuff from there. Or we are likely that the supply chain will get affected really badly. Compare this with a scenario that we have an MSME or a startup who's able to produce that same equipment or that same spare part in our own country in Bangalore or anywhere, or Hyderabad, Trivandrum. It makes things so much easier for us. I've been hearing this thing that the first thing that a startup innovator or a founder is looking for or has is an idea. Here it is. We have so many ideas for you. We are full of ideas to give you, for you to innovate and to challenge yourself and give us the solution. And we'll become patriots together in this fight for self-reliance. You know, we all know the light combat aircraft, Tejas as we call it, the first indigenous aircraft of the country. It's right now enthralling the audience, the spectators in the Dubai Air Show. Such a proud moment for the entire nation. But it took us so many years to build that aircraft. Why? Because we were stuck in policies, in licenses, and so many regulatory bodies. We've all broken that with IDEX. The entire glass ceiling has broken with IDEX because it is a platform which calls you innovators to come collaborate with the defense industry and show the world what all we are capable of. Because we need to remember one thing, that the trajectory of our country is not at all in sync with the trajectory of our startups. I'm very sorry to say that. We really need to catch up. That is why we need to do something really fast. That is why we have DIS challenges coming up every 6 months. Because we want you all to step up to this challenge, accept it, and give us solutions. And like Colonel Nair was saying, that, you know, there is a full ecosystem behind you. Whether it is the parent service, whether it is the Ministry of Defense, and whether it is the Government of India, they're all with you. Catch a problem, come to us with a solution. We will do the hand-holding throughout. Provided yes, it's a serious solution. Because we cannot, like what Colonel Nair said, we cannot waste time on something which is naive and which will not work. So, IDEX 10, there are a total of around 76. DIS 10, there are a total of around 76 challenges this time. Imagine, DISC 1 and 2, when they were launched way back in 2018, there were only 9, only 5. Because even the defense ecosystem was kind of waking up to the entire thing. The response that DISC 1, 2, in fact, one of the winners is sitting here with us. The response that DISC 1, 2, until 9 has got, we've realized the potential of this entire system. And we are here to offer you 76 this time. 63 plus 13 in the prime segment. So I'll just cover around 3-4 examples of what the Air Force is looking at. You know, that will give you an idea that it's not something which is out of your reach. You can easily do it. And with the kind of brains that this country has, I'm sure, we can do wonders. So one of the challenges is a development of an indigenized hypoxicator to provide normobaric hypoxic indoctrination. So what this means is, basically hypoxia, we all know, is a phenomena which is likely to occur whenever there is a lack of oxygen in the atmosphere. And pilots or anybody else who's exposed to high altitudes is bound to go through it in case you are exposed to a rarer, denser environment. So what we do is we do something called hypoxic indoctrination. Is there a problem there? Okay. What we do is we do something called a hypoxic indoctrination, wherein we have a ground-based, which is called a normobaric hypoxicator, and we indoctrinate pilots and other crew into that. We have it in the Air Force right now, in Bangalore, Institute of Aerospace Medicine, but it's not indigenous. It's produced by some other country. So whenever it goes down, we need to get its spare part, which is expensive and time-bearing. So we want somebody to put their mind on it and get us a hypoxicator which is Indian. The details of all these challenges are available on the website as covered by Colonel Nair on the IDEX website. And you can all work on it and contact the respective service headquarter representatives for more information. Second, again, a very simple innovation if you look at it. The Air Force has got ground-based radars all over the country, because we need it for early detection, whether it is incoming aircraft or for any other threat. Now, the problem that we face in high-altitude radars is that there is a bending of the radar beam which takes place because of the rarer atmosphere. So all we want is a radome which is pressurized. I'm sure these are very basic problems. When you go back and think about them, you will be able to find solutions so that we can deploy these radars at high altitude without suffering a loss of range because of the bending of the rays.
Group Captain Saurabh, I think they have optimized a little bit of timing.
Okay.
Because somebody has to catch a flight in the next session.
Okay.
So I think we can just wind off.
So, okay, so I've just introduced you to two challenges, and all I want to say is that, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, the ball is in your court. The challenges are available, the funding is available. Please rise up to the occasion so that together we can build a self-reliant India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Group Captain Saurabh, Shiv. We are running short of time, as indicated by Startup Mission also, because there is a speaker in the next session who wants to take a flight at 8 p.m. And before we end the session, I would take 2 minutes from Rajaguru, because he is the person who will give the IDEX journey from his side. I'll just request him to take just 2 minutes to tell his story. You want to go to the podium? Or you...
Good evening, everyone. Is there any defense startups? Anyone working on defense areas? Please raise your hands. No? I don't see any hands rising. See, most of the cases, we feel that we are not a defense startup. In fact, our company, I'm a CEO of Astromenda, which is a medical tech company. We are from a health tech background. So I'll just brief about our journey, which we were into this, how we were entered into this IDEX. I have a presentation to show you, but unfortunately, as we are running out of time, I just wanted to cut short the presentation. So I'm just directly sharing my experience with you guys. So we started like every other startup founders. Ours is also a humble journey. We started with just a 2-member team working on a medical technology. Our idea is to develop space-based medical technology platform, which is like Astro stands for space and Meta stands for medicine, which is a space medicinal platform which can be used for doing space-related medical technology development. For example, we started doing microgravity research studies. So when we started with these microgravity research studies, there is a scenario in space environment. Whenever you have to go to space, your product should be proven in space. Then only your product will be taken for commercial applications. So we are spending a lot of money to execute our first space mission, which is a health monitoring of bacteria in space. The health monitoring of bacteria in space, no clues, it can connect with the defense actually, but it happens. So when we started with that, developing a microgravity experiment on space, we started developing that, and we became the first Indian company to do a successful successful microgravity experiment in space. The project has been in the International Space Station for nearly 60 days. We have got all the results. We have been collaborations with NASA. We were working with the top scientists globally, and our product has been successfully tested in space. Coming back to the business model of this, business. So we have got a lot of hiccups in the business modeling of this. So we started exploring the opportunities in doing this microgravity experiment for researchers in India. So we have tied up with many universities, like eminent universities, to do microgravity based experiment in space. We have got a contract, we have got a deal closed for successful execution of that. And we were about to execute that mission, and exactly the COVID hit. Because of COVID, no researchers are allowed to get into the lab, and we don't have any opportunity to explore this space into the next level. So then we started working into the, developing a health monitoring system for the astronauts. This is how our journey started. We have got an opportunity from the DISC-4, which is a Defense Innovation Challenge. We have got an opportunity to work on health monitoring of pilots. So it is a aircrew health monitoring system. Our colonel was explaining, there is a lot of opportunity from the defense environment. This, the particular DISC-4, we have got an opportunity to work for developing a product which can monitor real-time health metrics of a pilot. So we have taken this opportunity and we started working on that, and that gave a startup for our startup. So we started as a space medical tech, we pivoted to aerospace medtech, and then we started working for the defense for development of this product with the IAF. At present, for the last 18 months, we are working with the Indian Air Force. We have completed up to milestone 3. We have got phenomenal product development output. See, when there was a place or a point where we don't have an opportunity to work with the direct customers, after engaging with the IDEX, we are directly working with the customer to tailor-make the product for our requirements. So we came up with the innovation of using smart textiles to measure health monitoring for the pilots. So we developed a sensor, which is a textile-based sensor. The textile itself measures the health of the individuals, actually. So this gave us a lot of opportunity to work in the defense scenario, and the product is in milestone 3. You don't believe, we started with a 3-member team. Now we have a team of 20 members working on this. After getting into these opportunities, we have a direct opportunity to work with the defense ministry, opportunity to meet the prime minister, defense minister, to showcase our product. As well as in this journey of last 18 months, our startup, growing, looking for a capital, now we have successfully completed rising 2 rounds. And the team is also growing to the level where we have a product market fit, product channel fit, we have a customer fit as well. So from a defense applications, now we are venturing into telehealth application as well. So it's not that the solutions what you are building, it may be health solution, or it can be robotic solutions, or it can be any other solutions. There are a lot of opportunity. You can use your technology for defense as well. Please take this opportunity to get into this defense, and we can able to grow it to a greater level. So thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Rajaguru, and I would thank the complete panel out here. We're running short of time. Otherwise, we had a 4th speaker whose video bite was there. Her was again another success story. She was the winner of the first disc edition. In fact, she has got the order also. She went along with the Honorable Prime Minister to the US, and in the CEO's round table, she was sitting next to Satya Nadella. So she's the poster girl of IDEX. So since we are running short of time, so we are not running that video. So once again, thanks to the entire panelists, and thanks to Startup Mission for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you.